Good evening and welcome to the Newshour Agenda. I'm Madhavdas G. Now, weeks after the Kolkata rape and murder horror, the West Bengal Assembly unanimously passed the anti-rape bill brought in by the Mamata government. Titled the Aparajita Women and Child Bill 2024, this bill includes the provision of capital punishment for individuals convicted of rape in cases where the victim dies or the crime causes the victim to enter a vegetative state. While the proposed legislation is a step in the right direction, the politics around it and the RG Kar horror is refusing to die down. During her speech in the Bengal Assembly, Mamata hit back at the BJP, which has been demanding her resignation. She highlighted the number of crimes in BJP-ruled states and said that Prime Minister Modi should resign because he's a shame for the entire country.
আগে নরেন্দ্র মোদিকে পদত্যাগ করতে বলুন। নরেন্দ্র মোদি পদত্যাগ চাই, তার কারণ সারা দেশে উনি জাতীয় লজ্জা। আমরা স্যার অমানবিক ঘটনা নিয়ে ওরা রাজনীতি করে, বিচার চায় না। ভারতীয় ন্যায় সেই কারণেই দ্রুত বিচারের জন্য ভারতীয় ন্যায় সংহিতার কয়েকটি ধারায় সংশোধন করে আমরা ধর্ষণের ঘটনায় অপরাধের প্রমাণে সর্বোচ্চ মৃত্যুদণ্ডের সাজা প্রস্তাব করেছি।
Mamata's attack on the Prime Minister drew a sharp response from the BJP. They've accused the Bengal Chief Minister of trying to deflect attention from the state government's failures in protecting Bengal's daughter. They've also called her anti-woman and asked that if after the passage of the Aparajita law, the TMC government will hang Shah Jahan Sheikh, who was accused of sexual assault by the women of Sandesh Khali.
ममता जी, कानून में एक से एक सख्त प्रावधान उपलब्ध हैं, परंतु प्रावधान कितने भी सख्त हों, लागू करने वाले की मंशा भी उतनी साफ और सख्त होनी चाहिए। ये वही पश्चिम बंगाल की विधानसभा है जिसमें खड़े होकर उन्हीं ममता बनर्जी जी ने शाहजहां शेख का बचाव किया था, और इतना ही नहीं, उन्होंने पीड़ित महिलाओं प्रोपेगेंडा का आधार बताया था।
Trinamool Congress is an anti-women party. Mamata Banerjee protects and patronizes individuals who are accused of crime against women. Whether it is Udayan Guha or the other TMC MLAs, all of them are connected with only one thing. They all protect rapists. All of them look down on women. This is why Mamata Banerjee's party is an anti-women party.
ममता दीदी में संवेदना नहीं है। दीदी ने दबाव में बीभत्स घटना हुई है बेटी के साथ, उससे ध्यान भटकाने के लिए अब ये कानून लेकर आई है।
But look at the irony, viewers. While Mamata Banerjee tried to create the right perception with the passage of the anti-rape bill, the leaders of TMC continue to heap insult on those who are out on the streets seeking justice for the victim. TMC MLA Lovely Mitra has vilified protesting doctors by branding them as human butchers. The BJP's hit back at the TMC leader, asking why is there so much hate against those seeking justice for the 31-year-old doctor.
TMC MLA Lovely Mitra has compared protesting doctors in the RG Medical College case to butchers. Imagine the hatred they have for the protesting doctors. Does Mamata Banerjee believe that the doctors are like butchers? This is an insult of every healthcare giver in this country. Mamata Banerjee and Abhishek Banerjee must not only apologize, they must sack this person, because this person happens to also be the wife of somebody who's an IPS officer posted in Kolkata Police. And we've seen how Kolkata Police has been trying to intimidate doctors and protesters. They allowed vandals to vandalize the RG Medical College. All of this is being done so that the voice of truth and justice can't prevail.
Meanwhile, Akhilesh Yadav has come out in support of Mamata Banerjee, saying that the Bengal government was trying to provide justice to the RG Kar victim, but the BJP was leading a campaign to malign Mamata.
हाल ही में जो बंगाल में घटना हुई, जिसमें सरकार हालांकि काम कर रही थी, लेकिन सरकार को बदनाम करने के लिए भारतीय जनता पार्टी सबसे आगे थी। प्रदेश में आप जानते होंगे कई घटनाएं हुई हैं। कन्नौज, फरक्काबाद में, गोरखपुर, जो आंकड़े बताते हैं उसमें उत्तर प्रदेश सबसे आगे है। महिलाएं जिसमें उत्पीड़न हो रहा है, उनके साथ अन्याय हो रहा है, जाने जा रही हैं, उनके सम्मान के साथ खिलवाड़ हो रही है। जो काम सरकार को करना चाहिए या पुलिस को, वो सरकार नहीं कर रही है।
You're watching the News Hour at 10, debate number 1 on Times Now, Super Prime Time.
Let's take this across to our guest. Joining us is Priyanka Tibrewal, spokesperson of BJP. Dr. Anand Ranganathan, author, is with us. Dr. Vikram Singh is former DGP of Uttar Pradesh. With us also is Tauseefur Rahman, national spokesperson of the TMC. Joining us also is Asif Ansari, political analyst. Tehseen Poonawala, political analyst, joins us here in the studio. Let me start with you first, Tauseefur Rahman. There are those who are criticizing today what has happened, while the bill in itself, by and large, the spirit behind bringing the bill might be welcome. But there are those who are saying, how will you change the mindset of those netas, even of the TMC, of course, of other political parties also? But the latest in a series of comments coming in from TMC leaders is Lovely Moitra, who has compared protesting doctors with butchers. How will this basic mindset be changed is a question that is being asked today. Tausi.
Good evening, Madhav, and good evening to all the panelists. Madhav, you see, these statements coming from all the TMC leaders, 3-4 leaders, we have asked you before also, we have informed you before also that we don't endorse such statements coming from these people. I don't know on what purpose, on what statement, on what idea they are using just statements, but we don't endorse such things. But the main agenda is for the passing bill. I've been hearing from all the BJP leaders, from Sudhanshu Trivedi, Tushazat Poonawala, and other top leaders coming from the front. They are saying ye dramebazi hai. At the same time, those protesters who were protesting last night near Lal Bazaar, sitting all night with a peaceful protest, they were very happy with the step. They said at least something is better than nothing. At least some steps have been taken to secure us. And well, it might be a late step, but at least we welcome this. So we don't care, what the BJP has to say, whether BJP Bengal or the BJP National. We are okay that we are passing the bill. Madhav, what is the major part? I don't understand such bills. I've heard that such bills are coming from Madhya Pradesh, Uttar Pradesh as well, but it has not been passed. I don't know, beside whataboutery, beside complaining, beside giving names like dramabazi and such things, why don't Narendra Modi come front?
Okay, I'm going to get into the pointed criticism of the Prime Minister coming in from Mamata Banerjee, because that will require a separate set of arguments. But let me open with the arguments that you have just made now, Tausif, and let me put them to Priyanka Tibrewal. Priyanka Tibrewal, the protesters are not complaining. They are welcoming this, perhaps better late than never. And the larger question is this, that if this bill strengthens the provisions of the BNS, which was passed in the parliament, is this really something that's objectionable? You're a lawyer. Perhaps, at the end of the day, if this is strengthening the legal system, then why not?
Madhav, is this really strengthening the legal system? Because the legal system and the laws which we have, the stringent laws, the exemplary punishment which is there for the heinous crimes like rape and murder is already existing. But it is only about implementation. And when I speak of implementation, I would also speak about what the state is supposed to do. Because the center is there to help the state to take steps. But implementation has to be done by the states. Now, the similar things and questions were raised from Mamata Banerjee, where she got a reply from the sitting Minister for Women and Child, where she questioned her about the fast-track courts. And not just the fast-track courts, she also spoke about fast-track special courts, which is supposed to be here in West Bengal. Around 123 such courts are supposed to be here. But what about it? Nothing has been started in West Bengal till last June 2023. Mamata Banerjee again says that they are not getting funds for the same. Now, I would just like everybody to know that 752 such courts, including 409 exclusively POCSO and functional courts are there, which are functioning in 30 states in India. Now, only Mamata Banerjee is saying that she is not receiving funds. Now, the ratio of this fund is 6:40, which is the sharing capacity between the state and the center. Then also, Mamata Banerjee is not doing anything. See, she is not establishing anything in the state which she's supposed to do. When she was questioned about the emergency helplines, a big no. When she was questioned about the emergency response support system, a big no. When she was questioned about the child helpline, a big no. So no attempts are being taken from her side. Now she has come up with a special law together. Altogether today.
I think that's a fair question. Tausif,
Heard.
respond to that, because it's a very important point. We've seen, 12 years after Nirbhaya, our entire, legal framework changed, the laws changed, but the number of rapes actually increased annually when you talk about the entire nation. The questions that many are asking is, given that experience, what use is a new law if your basic infrastructure does not change? If your courts, if your police, if your fast-track courts, if your infrastructure, if your forensics, all remains the same.
Absolutely, Madhav. Absolutely. And I totally agree what Priyanka Tibrewal ji is saying, but this is not a fact. I don't understand why coming on a national media, even the junior minister coming on national media quoting that West Bengal is becoming a failure with the system. I mean, according to the NCRB report, the report is different. According to Priyanka Tibrewal, Shvendu Adhikari, no, please don't interrupt. The reports are different. I urged you, Madhav. I urged you, Madhav. So why don't you...
Please, one by one.
No.
Priyanka, you can respond to it. Complete your point, please. Tausif.
I request you, Madhav, to according to the NCRB report, all those POSCO thing and fast track, why don't you bring the report, and again me and Priyanka Tibrewal will sit together and we'll have a chat on discussion, because it's a very important discussion. Forget about the funds. We are not getting funds with lot of schemes. Those have been stopped because those have been, you remember we went to Delhi also for the protest. Our funds were not
some
released.
of these things are recorded, Tausif. For instance, the union minister wrote last week that the emergency helpline, the child helpline, the women's helpline are all dysfunctional. This is what the central government has written on record. Was that denied by the West Bengal government?
Why don't she give us the report? We are here only. We can again discuss tomorrow.
Deny
as
it,
well.
sir. I'm just saying, if it's a factually incorrect claim, why don't you deny it? I'm sure you've denied several claims of the centre in the past.
I am absolutely denying it. That the union minister or the junior minister, whatsoever said, it's a lie.
Okay, it's all lies.
It's not appropriate.
Okay, got you on that. Priyanka, respond to that. The facts are not adding up. There are lies being peddled by the centre's allegation of the TMC. Please respond to that with facts. One by one, please.
That's what I'm saying. We can show on papers 48,600 rape cases, including POXO, are pending in West Bengal. Conviction rate only 8.5%. Now, with so many cases, if you are not even making provisions for the fast-track courts and the POXO courts, which you are supposed to, and he's talking about proof, right? They have only given in writing that, we can have judicial officer on this court, and they have refused to have such fast-track courts. And that's in writing, what West Bengal government has given. So he was talking about proofs. Now, see, the entire intent of having whatever new law she's come up with, see, we appreciate that is why BJP supported in the Legislative Assembly today. All the MLAs of BJP, they supported with whatever law she is coming up today. But now what is the intent of this law? Because there are laws which are existing. Centrally, it is there which is existing. You are supposed to implement and you are refusing to implement. Okay. What new thing will happen with this law?
Okay, let me bring in other panelists, please, because I think there are others who have been waiting very patiently. Let me bring in the lone police officer on the panel, Dr. Vikram Singh. Dr. Vikram Singh, you've looked at the BNS, I'm sure. You perhaps have examined what's happened in West Bengal today. The point that is being made over here is this, that yes, there are states where there are high incidents of crimes against women. I'm not going to get into the politics of comparing state versus state. We're going to debate that, of course, in a short while. But the larger question is what is required. Is it changing the legal infrastructure? Is it changing the law? Is it changing the actual infrastructure that governs policing and the criminal justice system? Or is the most important thing changing attitudes? Because the attitude appears to be the biggest problem and the biggest stumbling block, especially amongst the political class.
Ladies and gentlemen, I would say that it is the attitude that is the backbone of any criminal investigation in any jurisprudence. Justice Krishna Iyer said it is better to have small number of laws that are faithfully implemented than large number of laws that are loosely implemented. And this is what I say about India. The appraisal bill, well, yes, there are certain new features, but only by way of cosmetics. What you mentioned with Bharatiya Nyaya Sanhita and Bharatiya Nagrik Suraksha Sanhita, I had made a detailed presentation before the parliamentary committee, and there were members of the honorable TMC members in that also. We had a very healthy discussion. But the fact of the matter is that if we do not have the killer instinct to pursue the investigation vigorously, ensure the prosecution of the predators, then we have failed miserably in our duty. What good is having an AK-47 when I fail to use even a catapult? This is exactly what we are facing today. Madhavji, it pains me to know and to see that we have failed to use a catapult the statement of the prosecutrix is sufficient to nail the predator. Here we go right, left and center, beating around the bush without coming to the point. It is very simple. There have been cases when the predators have been sentenced in less than 15 days. And here we go on and on and on till eternity without, I think, till either the witnesses turn hostile or the survivor just gives up. The family just gives up because the anguish begins during the course of trial. The Nirbhaya guidelines given in 2013, the 13th Criminal Law Amendment Act, amended all the 3 statutes. We had so many guidelines from the Supreme Court, but they are observed in their breach. As I say, the spirit is willing, but the flesh is weak. If we do not have the killer instinct in us, and also my last word, if anybody is serious, I know I have interrogated hundreds of rape accused. Chemical castration is the answer, which is dreaded more than the death penalty.
Well, sentiments are certainly running high. That's all we can say at this point of time. Does the law need to be changed in terms of the penalties? Perhaps that's a wider debate. But I want to ask Asif Ansari a simple question. And I put this question in a slightly different way earlier to Tausif Asif. Look at what has been stated by Udayan Guha, Arup Chakrabarti, Kakoli Ghosh. Just yesterday, action had to be taken on Atish Sarkar, who is threatening to morph the pictures of mothers and sisters of protesters if they demand Mamata Banerjee's resignation. You know, what is going on? Despite the kind of denouncement of these statements repeatedly come. Now there's Lovely Mitra. What is happening? Why does the urge to come out and defend the leader when we've seen what's happened? Allow the protesters to protest. You may have a political fight with the BJP, with the Congress, with the left, that's fine. But why are we repeatedly drawing in the protesters and abusing them 3 weeks after what has happened, the ghastly incidents of RG Car?
Well, Madam, good evening to everyone. I must say that there is nothing of a ghast on the protester. Bengal itself is a place where protest has been always prioritized. You see all over the India, there are the states. Even a couple of days back, you will see the UP Chief Minister has banned and they barged on commenting on the Facebook, on the social media even. These are the things you should put into a consideration, that people even cannot express their views, their dissent on the Facebook and the social media. Today, the question been asked in the last show that the Mamata Banerjee has said that the media should not bring on the trials on the sub judice cases. So how media is interfering and giving a media trial to something which is a sub judice case?
No, sir. Let me one second. Let me set the record straight. It is a provision of this particular bill that has been challenged. In fact, the BJP that has tweeted on this, and they have said that this is an attempt to silence the media. In fact, I'm quoting from a tweet of Mr. Amit Shah. He says, why is Mamata Banerjee trying to silence the media, so much so for free speech and press freedom? Now, this is a question that the TMC is facing from the BJP.
Sir, the thing is that one thing I should highlight in the light of the law, that there is a say that evidence can prove the fact, but motives you have to understand. So until or unless there will be a fair trial in a court which is going on, which is sub judice, it has been a 26 or a 25 days we have seen that the media has given a verdict against the TMC government, or rather you put Mamata Banerjee as the tyrant, that the rape has been committed.
So forget media.
It's the way, the way
Mr.
the media
Ansari,
has
forget
portrayed
media.
her.
Let me answer that, and you can correct me if I'm wrong. Here is what the Supreme Court has pointed out. I'm just pointing out 4 things. They said many things. There was a delay of 14 hours in filing of the rape FIR in the rape case. The crime scene was not protected until the post-mortem was completed. Mr. Sandeep Ghosh was reinstated at another job in a hurry in just a matter of few hours. There's a series of questions that have been asked, the family being misinformed, etc. There are several questions that have come in from the Supreme Court. On Thursday, we'll know what the court finally has to say, because they didn't find satisfactory responses coming in from the West Bengal government's counsel and the Supreme Court. So forget media. This is Supreme Court which is making these observations, sir.
Let's keep the media apart, sir. Let's keep the media apart. I must put your the things which are unnoticed for a long time, that the crime was committed on the 9th of August. And the very second or the third day, Mamata Banerjee has visited the victim's house, where she herself committed to her parents that if we failed, you see the generosity of a chief minister of a state, where she said, if we failed, we will hand over this case to the CBI. Why? Because she wanted a justice.
Sir, I think this
She does
debate
not-
happened on the second day. But yes, Dr. Ranganathan, please respond to Mr. Ansari. Mamata Banerjee is, come in the best spirit. She has come out and spoken to the family members and given this assurance. Why do you have to raise questions about Mamata Banerjee? Please respond to Mr. Ansari.
No, good evening, Madhav, and good evening to my fellow panelists. It's not about rebutting Mr. Ansari or anybody else. In fact, I would like to be, I beg your pardon, at variance with all those, including you, who've been castigating Ms. Mamata Banerjee. I am for this bill. I think this bill is a very refreshing change, and I congratulate Ms. Mamata Banerjee and the TMC for bringing this new bill. Let me explain why. I especially like the 4 provisions in this bill that are a breath of fresh air. The first provision states that in the event the head of the institute or college where the dastardly act of rape has taken place, in the event that head has been transferred and rewarded to another headship of another medical college, the chief minister who's done so will resign. I think this is a brilliant provision and this should be acted upon. The second provision that I particularly like about this bill is that in the event that the FIR is lodged 10 hours after the autopsy takes place and 3 hours after the body has been given for cremation, and in the event that the FIR has been lodged by the first respondent, who is in fact the father of the girl who was raped and murdered, in the event this happens, the police commissioner of the state in which this transpires will have to resign. I like this provision. And I especially like the third provision that says in the event where the leaders of the ruling dispensation says that if you say anything against our chief minister and protest, I will break your fingers. The doctors who are protesting are butchers. And if the protesters do not listen and stop criticizing my chief minister, I will enter their homes and morph the photographs of their mothers and sisters and display them. In the event this happens, the leaders of the ruling dispensation will have to resign from their posts. These are the 3 provisions. And a final provision that I really like is in the event that the Nirbhaya fund allocated to the state has not been spent by even 1% of what it should have been. In that event, the chief minister would submit her resignation. In fact, from 2015 to 2019, Bengal has spent only 0.76% of the Nirbhaya fund that was allocated to her. So I don't know what this brouhaha is about. I am with Mamata Banerjee and her new bill that has these 4 excellent provisions.
All right, a huge dose of sarcasm there coming in from Dr. Ranganathan. Tausif, would you like to respond to him?
No, I see. I have to respect whatever he wants to say. I mean, Ranganathan ji is a very senior man and we have debated so many times, but it's okay. I mean, that's his point of view and we have respected everyone's point of view. But, I don't understand why we are diverting a bill today. I mean, the bill has been passed and my only question is that we can debate anytime with Ranganathan ji and I'm there to answer. But what is the problem with the bill? Why Narendra Modi government wants to oppose this bill? They are very happy inside the assembly. They were shouting with the bill that nahi, hum support kar rahe hain. But I do understand they're not comfortable. Why the whole thing should not go inside the parliament and Narendra Modi should come front and ask all the president and the governors to aap ye bill pass karo. What is the problem? Okay, there are some lapses. We are hearing
I'm going to put that question to Priyanka in just a minute, but I want to bring in Tehseen. Tehseen, I know you've been waiting very patiently. I don't want to make this about state versus state. Frankly, it's in poor taste. And yes, it is a fact that there are very high incidents of rape that happen in Madhya Pradesh and Uttar Pradesh. But in vein of what Mamata Banerjee is asking, she's saying that Modi should step down. The latest NCRB figures which we have is of 2022. The highest incident of rape happens to be in that particular year in the state of Rajasthan when the Congress was in power. And those rapes were very widely reported. Now, the point is this, that all parties have failed in certain states. The point that is being made is, are we now going to leave alone responsibility for what has happened in individual states? And RGKR in itself, it's not about each state or the statistics. It's about the kind of systemic failure, the systemic protections that are being alleged over here. Tehseen.
You're absolutely, Madhav, and it'll be criminal to say, let's do it state versus state. But and I quote, you say that all governments have failed in some states or the other. So what is the need of the hour? The first need of the hour is the man who in 2014 said, "Bahut hua nari pe atyachar, ab ki baar Modi sarkar." Did he not know while contesting that it's a federal structure in the country? But he took onus. Now that he's taken onus, I'm talking about the Honorable Prime Minister, why can't he call an all-party meeting, followed by a special session of Parliament, and pass just legislations to come up to date post-Nirbhaya and the BNS to how to deal with rape? There are so many issues that have to happen. Second, all states, Anand spoke about West Bengal and the lack of funds in spending the Nirbhaya fund. In Maharashtra, they spend the Nirbhaya fund, the BJP government, they spent it. You know what? In buying new cars for MLAs, the Nirbhaya fund was spent. Why can't the Prime Minister call a leader of opposition and say, look, we need fast-track courts, this requires money, let's meet the Chief Justice of India together and let's fast-track this process. Why aren't we coming up with solutions? Because he doesn't want to do it. Why? Because now let's go to specifics. Because Brij Bhushan Sharan Singh, who accused by the Delhi police of touching women inappropriately when they asked for protein, continues to be out of jail. Any other man would have been in jail. His son is a member of parliament. In Manipur, what happened? I don't want to go to Manipur. In Uttar Pradesh, because you're a former DGP of Uttar Pradesh here, the same crime in Kolkata, the very same crime happened with two Dalit girls in Farrukhabad. Very same crime. Where the parents said, look, we were told this is suicide. We saw the body only post the post-mortem and it's sexual violence. The UP police says, no, it's not sexual violence. There you want to believe the UP police, and no court, no media will take so much cognizance of this. I'm telling you.
The parents clarified later, Tehseen, that is on record. The first day they made the comment that you're making, but after the police did their preliminary investigation,
after the police,
record. Yeah, and it's a matter of record. Let's be fair.
I agree.
Let's be fair in terms of what's out there in the public domain.
Let me put one thing. Here you believe the police, and I have no doubts why you should not believe the police.
Kolkata, no, believe the parents is what I'm saying.
1 second. I'm saying, but there, so how do you know that the parents are not pressured now? Is there any investigation done? Has any court taken suo moto?
Okay.
I'm saying, why are these standards different? Why in Manipur is the Chief Minister not kicked out, whose tweets were deleted by none less than PMO?
Okay.
Let me quote the Manipur Chief Minister, just one line. Yeah. He said not 2 women were paraded naked, several hundred women were paraded naked. I'm quoting him.
Okay.
He's not kicked out.
Let Dr.
Mamata Banerjee. I have no love lost for Manipur. You don't want to kick them out.
Certainly. All of them are very serious. Yes, Dr. Ranganathan.
Just a small variance. There's nothing wrong with Tehseen said, except that he was, as is his norm, completely selective. He only mentioned the examples where the BJP leaders were found, justifiably so, according to Tehseen and according to me as well, wanting. He did not take the examples, despite him saying it's not state versus state, of any example where the Congress leaders behaved as shamefully, including the Congress states, including now the person who supported the Kathua rapist actually is now fought and won from the Congress side. So that is okay. I give Tehseen his selectivity. The point I'm trying to make out here is, as Dr. Kunal Sarkar also said, 35,000 rapes happen every year, Tehseen. 95% of the rapists are known to the victims.
Correct.
You cannot stop psychopaths. What you can control is the state inaction and the lackadaisical attitude of the executive. That is what bill should be about.
Okay.
The bill should not be about reforming psychopaths. It's almost impossible task. The bill should be about taking the states to task.
So principles apply uniformly then, Tehseen. Why give a ticket to Mr. Lal Singh?
I actually completely agree with Dr. Anand Ranganathan. And why should I not castigate Lal Singh? I castigate the Congress.
Not agreed with me.
No, Anand, I agree with you. I castigate the Congress for giving Lal Singh a ticket. Not just that, even Rajasthan was very badly gone, and therefore you need central debates in Parliament. And I agree with Anand. 95% of the molestation or rapes happen with people known to the girl. Now, if you're going to this is again a matter of debate. Where do you go where the girl is not fearful of reporting? How do you ensure that it is? Why aren't we having this debate? Why aren't we getting more psychologists in? Why don't we have more debates of having national helplines for counseling? None of this debate is happening in Parliament. What happens in Parliament and assemblies? A rape has happened. Let's pass a strict law. Let's hang people, which is all good. Let's castrate people, all good. But when will we get to the nuts of the problem?
Debate. Okay.
Where we have serious
questions being asked in the center. So let me bring in Priyanka Tibrewal. Serious questions are not happening. Let the BJP spokesperson respond to your questions. Let them respond to your questions. Priyanka Tibrewal, protection happening of Brij Bhushan Sharan Singh and the seriousness with which women's safety issues are being taken up by the centre are not good enough is the allegation of Tehseen. You just heard him. Please respond.
Well, for whatever Tehseen has said, although I couldn't hear him, but even then I would say that, no matter whichever government is there, they should speak against any kind of this kind of heinous crime which takes place, and Not just that, it should not take 30 years like it took in the case of Ajmer, the Ajmer rape case, and it took 30 years. And who was trying to safeguard those perpetrators? We know that very well. Now, coming to West Bengal, Madhav, we would also like to really ask whether how serious this government is regarding the new act which they have come up with. She's calling it Ratri Sati scheme, where she says, the Mukhyamantri, Chief Minister Mamata Banerjee says that, you know, women will not work in night shifts. Now I'm trying to ask whether this is protection or oppression.
Well,
because here the women of Bengal who are...
Well, there are very serious questions indeed, Priyanka Tibrewal. A new law has been passed. At the end of the day, the aim of any law should be to actually protect women. Will the mindsets change is the bigger question that we are asking this evening. And we'll have to leave it there. Priyanka Tibrewal, Dr. Anand Raghunathan, Dr. Vikram Singh, Tausifur Rahman, Asif Ansari, Tehseen Poonawala, thank you so much for joining us on debate number 1.